Welcome to Shadows of History and Reality. Today we will talk about what was it like to live in the Middle Ages? Have you ever imagined what it would be like to live in the Middle Ages? No internet, no electricity, and a completely different lifestyle from what we have today. Today, we are going to travel back in time and discover what daily life was like for people in the Middle Ages. Society and social classes. In the Middle Ages, society was strictly divided into social classes, with little mobility between them. The main ones were kings and monarchs, nobility, clergy, peasants, and serfs. This feudal system maintained order and hierarchy, ensuring that each class fulfilled its role. The social classes, kings and monarchs. They ruled the land and were at the top of the hierarchy, making crucial decisions about war, economy, and law. Nobility, lords and ladies who owned vast lands, governed territories, and provided military protection. Clergy, bishops, priests, and monks who controlled religious teachings and played a major role in education and medicine. Peasants and serfs, the backbone of medieval society, working the land and producing food for the entire kingdom. While kings lived in luxurious castles, most of the population consisted of peasants who worked hard to survive. The majority of people were born, lived, and died in the same village, rarely traveling beyond their immediate surroundings. Medieval society was strictly hierarchical, meaning that social mobility was nearly impossible. At the top of the pyramid was the clergy, followed by the nobility, and at the bottom were the serfs, the ones who worked and supported the upper classes. Food and daily diet. Of course, at that time, there was no fast food or supermarkets. The diet was based on cereals, bread, vegetables, and, for the wealthier, meat. Peasants' diet. Simple and repetitive, mainly consisting of porridge, coarse bread, vegetables, and occasionally fish or eggs. Nobility's diet. More varied, including roasted meats, imported spices, and elaborate feasts with wine and desserts. Surprisingly, the most common drinks were wine and beer, as most water sources were not drinkable. As a result, water was not commonly consumed, and other beverages were prioritized. Unlike today, where we take food safety for granted, in medieval times, food storage was a challenge. Without refrigeration, people preserved meat with salt or smoked it. Living conditions and housing. It was common for peasant houses, made of wood and clay, to contrast sharply with the imposing castles of the nobles, highlighting the vast differences between them. Peasant homes, small, dark with the dirt floors, and shared with animals to provide warmth in winter. Noble castles, large stone-built structures with multiple rooms, kitchens, and private chapels. Despite their grandeur, castles were cold and damp with limited comfort. Windows were small, and fireplaces were the only source of heat. In peasant villages, women took care of the home, baked bread, and wove clothes, while men worked in the fields and also served as guards for the security and defense of the village. Hygiene and medicine forget daily baths. In the Middle Ages, bathing was rare, and there was no set frequency for this practice. Hygiene was poor, and, in some cases, religious beliefs considered bathing an impure act. The rich had bathtubs and used scented oils, while the poor relied on rivers or rarely bathed. Tooth hygiene was basic, with people using herbs or chewing sticks to clean their teeth. Medicine at the time was quite rudimentary, with treatments based on bloodletting, herbs, and superstitions. Doctors relied on astrology and humoral theory to diagnose diseases. Surgery was dangerous, often performed by barbers with little medical training. Diseases like the Black Death wiped out millions due to a lack of medical knowledge and poor sanitation. Religion and superstition religion dominated all aspects of life, from birth to death. It was a combination of Christian and pagan beliefs and practices. Many Christians still believed in divination, astrology, and other mystical practices condemned by the official church doctrine. Churches were central to daily life, dictating moral behavior, marriage customs, and even work schedules. Relics and pilgrimages were common ways to seek divine protection. Fear of witchcraft led to accusations and persecutions. Entertainment and warfare. For entertainment, people attended medieval fairs, night tournaments, and troubadour performances. Jousting tournaments were thrilling events where knights competed for honor. Minstrels and troubadours entertained with music and storytelling. Village festivals celebrated harvests with feasts, dances, and games. Could you live in the Middle Ages? Living in the Middle Ages was anything but easy. Would you be able to endure the hardships, lack of technology, and rigid social structure